It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, Ninestar decided they're going to sue the United States government. Ladies and gentlemen, Ninestar obviously doesn't understand what a rebuttable presumption is. So let's go back in time. Early June, Ninestar, along with 8 subsidiaries, was banned by the Department of Homeland Security for bringing products into the U.S. supply chain. That ban came a part of the UFLPA, the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. That act was put in place as a rebuttable presumption, which means you are guilty. The presumption is you are guilty until you prove unequivocally that you're not. And the reason the Department of Homeland Security did that is because they know that that dictator that controls the Chinese Communist Party will never open up those slave camps that are littered through China, let alone in the Xinjiang province. Ladies and gentlemen, there's reportedly over 1.6 million people in these camps, these re-education centers, these slave camps, if you will. Xi has great aspirations. The dictator in China, well, he wants to be the dictator all over the world. He wants to be the leader of the world. And you notice I didn't say free world, because if Xi, the dictator in China, becomes the leader of the world, there will be no free nations. Ladies and gentlemen, the dictator in China is trying to build a new Silk Road. He wants to control the economies of the globe. He wants to control all the manufacturing throughout the globe. And he's doing that through ruthless means. By persecuting people and putting them in camps and forcing them to manufacture for PRC companies. Those aren't just false allegations. The world knows this. And the Department of Homeland Security put in place the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act to stop it, to bring the world's attention to it. Ninestar's going to sue the U.S. government. Ninestar, I got a great idea for you. Why don't you sue the dictator controlling the Communist Party? Because it's his fault you're in this position. It's his fault because he's allowing PRC companies to use slave labor to manufacture their products. He's the one that's doing it. It's his fault because he's picking people up off the street to practice a religion that doesn't conform with the Communist Party. And then when he puts these people in these re-education camps, he uses them to manufacture products for the PRC companies that he controls. It's his fault. Sue him. Oh, Ninestar, I guess you can't do that because as soon as you file the lawsuit, well, those who had their name on it would end up where? Well, in the slave camps making Phantom printers, as an example. Ladies and gentlemen, this lawsuit is ridiculous. And I hope when it shows up at the court, the judge takes the gavel and smashes the crap out of the Ninestar logo and kicks them the hell out of the country. And I'm hoping my friends in the print industry will kick Ninestar and all of their subsidiaries out of the free world and out of our industry. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, Xi, that dictator in China, he's betting that the people in the free world would rather argue amongst themselves around political ideology than pay attention to his aspirations to rule the world. That dictator over there in China, he's betting that the people here in the free world will put profits over principle. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to prove that he made a wrong bet. And I'm going to tell you something. I believe he is betting the wrong bet. Because the people in the free world are not going to put up with this bullshit. The people in the free world just have to make adjustments. And I believe the print industry is making those adjustments. But at the end of the day, folks, we have an opportunity as an industry to stand up and say enough is enough. And tell Ninestar to pack their bags and get the hell out of our industry and get the hell out of the free world and go back to communist China. After all, Ninestar and 8 of their subsidiaries have been banned by the Department of Homeland Security over the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. That ban is part of a rebuttable presumption. Ninestar, you're more than happy to go sue Xi, force him to open up all those camps, share with the whole world how he doesn't use slave labor, or worse, tortured labor. You could do it. Don't waste your time in our courtrooms, because you know what? We're all presuming you're guilty. After all, the law was built on a rebuttable presumption. All any of my friends around the free world have to do is study this. Start reading some stuff, folks. Start doing your own investigating. This isn't all made up. These prisons do exist. This slave labor does exist. And I know a lot of you want to use the argument, well, Ray, if that's the case, then we can't buy anything coming out of China. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? What we can do is when something is recognized by the Department of Homeland Security, we can stand up and say, we're not going to buy that product. Because this list will, in fact, grow. It will. And hopefully the decent people in China will fight against this in their own country. Hopefully the corporations that are using China to manufacture products that are not PRC owned are paying attention to how those products are being manufactured and where those products are being manufactured. Hopefully, this UFLPA Act is bringing awareness to the world against the atrocities being committed by a dictator called Xi in communist China. Our industry is at its moment. We have an opportunity. We could try to defend Ninestar in some nonsense, or we could just throw them the hell out of the industry and the free world. I suggest we throw them out of the industry and the free world. Just some things to think about, my friends, because we all know this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.